Welcome back, Heartful Parent Podcast listeners. I am so excited to be here because I have a big announcement. I'm really, really thrilled to be bringing you a new feature of the Heartful Parent Podcast, which are Friday bonus episodes. You might be wondering, why are we getting bonus episodes? Why are these necessary? Well, if you are on my mailing list, as you should be. Side note, if you're not, please go to theheartfulparent.com and sign up now. But if you are on my mailing list, about a month or maybe 6 weeks ago, you would have seen an email come out to everyone saying, hey, folks, what is your big parenting question? What is the parenting issue that is, really causing problems or challenges or is really hard for you right now? Let me know and I will find a way to answer it. I got a ton of responses with really phenomenal questions, really important questions that I know the answers to which don't just impact that one person, but they really impact everyone or most of us, or will at some point along our parenting journeys. And so I wanted to find a clever way to answer these. And I thought, well, I could do it on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. But I'm not a big fan, frankly, of social media. So I discarded that option. I then considered, well, maybe I could tack them on as bonus questions inside my regular episodes. But as you know, this girl likes to ask questions and likes to talk. And so sometimes my regular episodes are, not short. They're not 30-minute episodes. I didn't want to then tack on more content and give you an even longer episode to listen to. So I discarded that idea. And then I landed or sort of thought of the idea of creating these as bonus episodes. I thought about it for a while and then it finally just sounded like the right way to go about this, because you will know what question I'm answering and whether or not it's something that you feel like you might want to tune into. And frankly, I hope you tune into more of these than you don't. So here's the way this is going to happen, guys, gals, folks, all of you out there. My regular episodes for the Heartful Parent Podcast, where, I share sort of heartful parenting practices and I interview phenomenal guests. Those episodes will continue to drop every Tuesday. Like clockwork, you can count on it. These little bonus episodes will start dropping every Friday. Every Friday, you'll get a little bonus episode where I answer one of your parenting questions. So if you are a reader of my newsletter or a listener to the podcast, you are able to send me questions at Christy@theheartfulparent.com, and I will try to get to your question with an answer here on the pod. I will keep you anonymous, of course, but I know that the questions that are coming up in your house, coming up in someone else's house too. And I really want to give everyone access to the answers. Now, I can only answer one question a week. So if you've got pressing questions or you want, ask more than one, or you want to guarantee that your question gets answered, let me tell you, the way that I'll be answering questions here in the bonus episodes is exactly how I go about answering them inside the Heartful Parent Academy, which is my membership community that I really designed specifically with you, yes, you, in mind. The Heartful Parent Academy has a ton of awesome content, and at least 3 times a month, I answer members' questions individually, directly, catered to them, their family, their needs. And I love it because I get to know the members and I, through the members, get to know who their kids are and what the challenges are that come up. And it's really, really special. So I'd love for you to consider joining the Academy. It's awesome for you. And I'll be honest, if I'm being really candid, it helps support the work that I do, makes the podcast doable. I can't do it all for free. So I'd love for you to join there. If for any reason the Academy isn't a good fit for you, that's okay. You can ask me questions here and I will try to get to your question as soon as I can and, get an answer here for you on the podcast. So that is how these bonus episodes have come about. I'm super excited about it. Like I said, you can expect a new bonus episode to drop every Friday. And if you have a question, if you have a big parenting question, you can send that question to me at Christy@theheartfulparent.com. And like I said, I will try to get to it. So let's dive in with our first question this week. It's one that when it came in, when it landed in my inbox, I was super excited to answer it because I know so many parents out there who relate to this reader's question and struggle, which is, will I ever stop being so tired? Will I ever stop being so tired? And my first response in my heart and in my head was, oh, mama, I feel you. And I don't know how old this particular mom's kiddos are. I don't know where she is along the parenting journey. I'm guessing a little bit earlier. I understand there are seasons where we're going to be more tired. But then as I thought more about this question, I thought, the narrative that we are all living around parenting isn't a healthy one. So let me start out with a couple of things. First, I want to say there are seasons in parenting where we will be more tired than other seasons, right? If you have a newborn and you are a responsive parent who is, responding to their needs, getting up when they're crying, feeding them, et cetera, and recognizing that that's kind of a normal, healthy part of newborn life, yes, you will stop being that tired, and that season will pass. But I gathered, I sort of read between the lines of this mom's message to me that that's not where she was in her parenting journey, but there's just this overarching, constant kind of exhaustion. And it's that I want to address. So there really are 4 big areas that we want to investigate in our lives. And the first, if we are feeling constantly exhausted, the first thing we want to do is make sure there aren't any medical reasons. Make sure that there's not something going on with us sleep-wise, like sleep apnea. And I'm not a doctor, you all know that, but something that is interfering with our sleep, or changes in our hormones, right? I am in presumably perimenopause at this point, and that has definitely done a number on my sleep and my sleeping through the night. It's worth speaking with your doctor about because there are options out there. Look at medical issues first. But if this isn't a medical issue, if this is just a life exhaustion, I want you to know you're not alone. You may have heard me mention this before, but the Surgeon General recently came out with an advisory warning about the state of modern parenting and the loneliness, exhaustion, stress, etc., that so many parents are feeling right now. So if you're in that boat, you're not in that boat alone, right? You're floating on the ocean with a lot of other parents. But I would like us to challenge the idea that that's how it has to be, or that that's how it should be. So after we've ruled out medical reasons, here are the 3 key things I think we need to look at. And the first one, and I feel like we hear this word a lot, it gets bandied about, it's kind of become a buzzword. And because it's become a buzzword, it's unpopular, but we need to talk about it. And that is self-care, right? Self-care. And I feel like we've gotten into this space in Western parenting, or at least in American parenting, where we've accepted exhaustion and overwhelm as the norm. And we've bought into this line of thinking that we have to sacrifice absolutely everything for our kids, right? We're doing all of the elite sports. We're, helping them study. We're enrolling them in all the best programs. Everything is centered around our kids. Our lives are centered around our kids. And while parenting, there is, of course, a natural sacrifice and a natural desire to give up for the sake of our children. Buying that idea that we have to sacrifice everything and that we aren't entitled to caring for ourselves or to our own lives, I think is a bunch of hooey. Sorry, I think it's bullshit. I just don't buy it. We were us, we were people, we were humans with our own thoughts, desires, needs, wants, etc. before we had children, and we will be those people after they're gone. And we need the continuity. Our brains, our hearts, our bodies, our minds need the continuity of knowing that we still matter. So when we think about self-care, and I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail today, we have to remember that self-care is proactive, not reactive. And we have to find ways to engage in, there's two types of self-care out there. My colleague Sarah Dean said this a number of years ago, and it really resonated with me. There's indulgent self-care and there's disciplined self-care. And the indulgent self-care is fun, right? Massages, manicures, spa days, nights out with our girlfriends, whatever it might be. And then there's the indulgent self-care that doesn't always feel great. Eating healthy foods, moving our bodies, meditating, journaling, doing those things that truly fuel our souls, right? And we need to be doing both of those things. And we really need to accept and sort of own the idea that we are, in fact, entitled to these things. So inside the Heartful Parent Academy, we have an entire module on self-care, how to do it, what it means, how to make it work for you. And in there, I share my self-care manifesto, which is this: I matter. I commit to taking care of me. Self-care is not selfish. My self-care is not self-extravagant, nor is it optional. I have time for that which I prioritize. I am entitled to this. This is my legacy to my children, and guilt is not invited to this party. And I think if we can sort of hold that at our center, it can be really helpful in terms of that exhaustion piece. We can't pour from an empty cup, right? We just can't. Okay, the second piece of all of this is to look at our workload and the equity in our homes. So if we are parenting with a partner, are we living in really stereotypical gendered environments where, our partner, our male, if you're a mom listening to this, where our male partners are the ones going to work, mowing the lawn, and that, kind of doing those quote unquote male tasks. In my house, we jokingly call them boy jobs. Or do you have a partner who's fully engaged and understands that you're both responsible for the home? You're both responsible for your children. And if the answer is no, and it feels like equity is lacking, then I would point you in the direction of fair play. And I would encourage you to engage your partner in sort of busting some myths about time. They talk about, Eve Rodsky, the author of Fair Play, talks about this. And I do coaching around fair play. We have some videos in the academy about fair play as well. But really, we have to engage our partners, and we have to stop making assumptions that if they can't do something, we are obligated to pick it up, right? That they shouldn't be held to the same level of expectations about how our home is managed as we are. Now, I want to be really clear. We talk about equity, not equality in fair play. But if you don't feel like things are equitably managed, then that's a place to shift and offload some of the workload so that you are not exhausting and overwhelming yourself. And then the third area that I think we need to look at is our parenting. Do we feel confident in managing ourselves and thus able to manage our children with all their big feelings and all their big emotions? Or do we feel like we need some more skills? And, because of that, we are exhausted by just responding to their needs, their tantrums, their feelings. And if the answer is you don't feel confident, or you're doing everything to avoid their feelings because you don't know what to do when they have them, then that's a place where we might need to level up our parenting skills a little bit. Obviously, I'm here to support you in that here at the podcast, in the academy, with coaching. We want to make sure that we feel like we are showing up as the parent that we want to show up as. So just to recap, we got to rule out medical reasons. Then we got to look at self-care and equitable workload and our parenting skills or tool set. If we look at all of those and we attack all of them, or the ones that feel most prominent, we will feel less exhausted. We will feel more joy. And I frankly think we're entitled to that. All right, everyone. That is the end of our first bonus episode for the Heartful Parent Podcast. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you, like me, resonated with that parent's question. And I hope that you will Join me back here next week for a regular episode on Tuesday and our bonus question podcast on Friday. Cheers. I hope to see you soon.